Leonie Dawson refuses to be categorized as the podcast, and we're on for another edition of Leonie on School Run. Gonna talk shit to you, gonna tell you what she's thinking and reading and obsessing about, cause she's always obsessing about something. Yeah. Right, so I've got a few things I wanted to talk to you about today, so buckle in, grab yourself a cup of tea. First and foremost, I wanted to share, and I've been public about this anyway, but I'm going through the formal process of getting formally diagnosed with Aspergers. I think like my worst fear is that I'm actually like not Aspergers, not anything, and she's just like, sorry Leonie, you're actually neurotypical. I'll be like, fucking what? So that'll be pretty hilarious. I mean, I do have a lot of fucking key indicators that point in the Aspie version, so I'm going to assume that it might be something like that. But you know what? I'll be totally open about whatever the results are, once I've emotionally processed them, of course. And that way as well, I figured, you know, like, there's sometimes different things that it's not contraindicated, but so like, for example, ADHD can be can often be misdiagnosed. Like Asperger's can often be ADHD because they have some similarities. So we'll see. Whatever ends up happening will be super cool. I mean, it's slightly confronting in some ways, like having to do these really long questionnaires and a 3-hour therapy session about my childhood and my personality, and how do I say this? Well, it's just odd in that it could have been a really sad situation in a lot of circumstances in terms of like how bullied I was and how out of the loop I felt socially. However, I'm just really fucking grateful that I have this personality that is just pretty fucking happy, really. And that I don't get kind of the anxiety spiral. I don't have self-confidence issues at all, clearly. Yeah, like it seems like I've got a lot of the blessings of like kind of the Asperger's archetype, but not as many of the challenges. Well, no, I do have the challenges, but they just haven't really seemed to bother me that much. I don't know. I'll let you know how it goes. It's going to be a fascinating process anyway. For those who are asking, I got the assessment done through Unique U Psychology. So U is just the letter U. And they specialize in diagnostic assessments of female Aspergers, which is very different from male Aspergers, because females can mask a whole bunch of social shit. So we can look like nice, attentive people because we've learned how to kind of copy. We're like the lyrebirds. We've learned how to copy other people's social instincts. So that was useful, but I was on the wait list for ages on that one. How long was I on the wait list? I think about 6 months or so. By the time it would have been about that. And I've also been trying to get assessed over the years, and I would send in inquiries to a few different places that did female Asperger's, and they just had like such long wait lists, they weren't even going to add me to it. So it can be totally challenging to get formally diagnosed. Yes, I don't really need the diagnosis per se, because I already have like a whole bunch of accommodations in place, and I'm pretty happy with how things are rolling, but it's just useful for self-discovery purposes, and also because then I've got that surety when I talk to you about being neurotypical. I can say it appears in these formally diagnosed ways, so that I can better represent The neurotypical. If I'm neurotypical, oh my God, could you fucking imagine if I'm just like a straight out norm? And they're like, no, your brain's totally normal. I'd be like, oh God, what is it then? Anyway. Okay, what else have I been obsessed by? I've gotten very into decluttering and organizing and just getting shit to a manageable level, really. Some things that have been really helpful is I've been watching the Minimal Mum YouTube channel, and she's super helpful. I'm sorry if I've like talked about this before. I genuinely cannot fucking remember shit of what I've said before because 2020 has done a buster on my working memory. Anyway, I'll just carry on and just presume that I haven't said anything before, said any of this stuff before. Anyway, I fucking love the Minimal Mum on YouTube. That's been really useful. We've also been painting my kids' bedrooms, because when we moved into our current house, it was all painted cream, including the trims, and it's kind of this yellowy cream, and it looks very, very fucking dated, and it's got kind of like cream yellow tiles as well, so it's just like living in fucking beige palace, and I don't love that for me. So I've started painting the girls' rooms, and one by one, and we've just been painting, like stripping it back and just painting it all vivid white. And I never thought I'd be so fucking excited by vivid white, but I really am. And putting some actual door and trim paint on the doors and trims instead of just fucking wall paint, because I can't believe the difference between wall paint and trim paint. I've never thought about these things, but you really look for that kind of extra sheen, that extra gloss, that extra level of protection so you don't get grimy kid fingers all over it. So it's looking pretty fucking phenomenal. I'm really enjoying that process, and I just listen to podcasts as I do it. I'm doing most of it myself, and then my husband will come in and do some of the rollering for me and stuff. But it feels really good, and it just makes me want to paint the whole house white. Just so you know, I am not a neutrals kind of person. The rest of our furniture is fucking bright, and we have a lot. We are not a minimalist home by any aspect of the imagination, but it'll just be nice to have kind of that white canvas than to have a glorious colourful shit on. So decluttering's been my big thing, and it just feels good to be getting things sorted. I've been taking a lot of shit to charity, and feels pretty rad. They're happy with that. I took I did buy a Thermomix years ago and got given a thermo server as a fucking special gift or some shit when I signed up, and I've just never used it, and so I took that to charity as well. And then the next week when I went to go take things to charity, I saw a person walking out with my thermo server and the biggest grin on her face, and it just made me so fucking happy. So decluttering, I've been very into that. I also just did my first Black Friday sale. That was a success. I've never done a sale before, and I've never done Black Friday before. It is kind of exciting to see it happening in Australia. I'm not gonna lie, I know that capitalism's very bad and we should not be buying a lot of stuff, but I'm all about trying to buy things mindfully with things that we actually fucking need. But it was really fun to do the Black Friday sale, and it meant that I think we had maybe 200 people sign up for my courses, and thousands of people buy my 2021 Goal Getter workbooks, and I think it ended up being just over $100,000 in sales, which is really cool. So we'll probably, I don't know, we'll probably consider doing something like that again next year, but I'm not sure at this point. Because if I do another kind of launch, I can earn well over that. So we'll see how we divvy up the time. It was interesting just to experiment and try out with anyway. I also just donated, I'm very excited, I just donated $7,000 today from our Black Friday sale to Australian Wildlife Conservancy. And you've probably heard me bang on about them before because I really do love them. They're my principal charity partner currently because I feel like their work is very, very important, especially with the climate crisis. And I think having these large tracts of land bought up for wildlife conservation is actually just a really critical part of the climate crisis puzzle. And they do awesome work. And I just seen today, like I opened an email from them, and they own a nature sanctuary not far from where I am, and they were trying to buy the block of land next door to it to extend it, so they were asking for partners to contribute to their fund. I think it was like $550,000 to buy I think it's called Currawong National Park. If you go to Australian Wildlife Conservancy website, you can see the full details there, but that was really cool. So we're really happy to donate $7,000 to that. Plus that also adds up our total for the year that we've donated is now $25,000 to Australian Wildlife Conservancy. So that feels really good. That was my original goal. It was like, okay, let's like create enough excess funds that I can donate to that money to Australian Wildlife Conservancy for the very, very important work they're doing. It's kind of weird because we're entering back into summer now, and there's an island about 2 hours drive north of us that's on fire at the moment, and it has been for weeks, and I haven't been able to put it out. And so there's just kind of smoke that comes over in the haze, and things are starting to dry out again, and it's just starting to get that heat, and it definitely is very triggering having gone through last year's bushfire season. And last year's bushfire season was absolutely the thing that woke me up to, like, you don't get to fucking ignore the climate crisis. It's happening, and it's happening now. And this is just going to keep getting worse. So it doesn't, like, yeah, it makes me, I do feel like a little bit of extra anxiety heading back into bushfire season in a way that I haven't experienced before. Currently where we are on our property, it's still pretty green, and I'm just hopeful that nobody does any dumb shit this year, like starting fires that get out of control, so that we don't have to get evacuated again, because that was pretty fucking unpleasant. And of course it got way worse in other parts of Australia, and so much wildlife died. Over 1 billion Australian animals, pushing so many animals to the brink of extinction. And that's why when I saw Australian Wildlife Conservancy's work, I just thought it was phenomenal, and they did so much work after the bushfires, and what they're doing as well with the land they're buying. It has the endangered Mary River turtle in it. It has platypuses in it, which is definitely not as common as they should be. And they also had an endangered crayfish on there, and some more animals that were highly at risk. So I feel like that's really important to me. I did have an offer by an associate to do like a land development deal, and I talked to my husband about it, and we kind of had a laugh in a way, because our investment goals are to buy land to do the opposite of development, to do undevelopment on them, for them to return to wildlife. And if you want to read more about that, I'd highly recommend reading the incredible book Wilding by Isabella Tree. Hands down, one of the most impactful books I have ever read, and it was like a spiritual awakening for me. So yes, I'm fucking thrilled for that. And I'm thrilled for what's next, really. I'm feeling pretty optimistic and excited about what I can do on a personal level next to keep turning up and shining my light bright and making my miracles happen and all that good stuff. It is only a few days left until my kids finish school for the year, and I'm so fucking relieved. It'll be just so nice to have them at home for school holidays. I think we all just need some downtime together. And I feel like I say this all the time, but we just do. And I find the pace of life is just too intense sometimes. We're not planning on any big holidays or anything like that. And I'll probably keep on working through the majority of the holidays, but that's just because it's only 2 hours a day, and I like just being able to toddle over to my office and just make shit, and my kids, do whatever with their Papa Bear, and it's a pretty easy flow to get into, just being able to spend so much time with them. And it'd be nice just to do some more exploring around these parts as well. We've been here for like 2.5 years, and I do still feel like we're kind of settling in. I think that was kind of exacerbated by the fact that we bought one house just as an interim house until we could look at more acreage properties and work out where we wanted to situate ourselves. So that's kind of worked on that front. Who knows how long we'll stay there. Like, I will never, ever, ever say again, like, oh, this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. No, I don't think so. We'll just see how it goes. If it's right for the next year, awesome. But things can change at any point in time, as we all know. For me, I've kind of realized that I don't necessarily just like want to live in one place all the time. Ideally, I'd like to kind of split my time in a few different places, and off the top of my head, those places would probably be like Hobart, Canberra, and the Whitsundays, because they're all really special places, and I'd like to just keep on exploring more. But we'll see what happens. Was there anything else I wanted to tell you about? Decluttering, tick. Have I read any books or gotten into anything lately? Well, I've been really obsessed still by Alone. And again, I've told you before, just please forgive me in my 2020 brain. But Alone is this incredible TV series where people get popped into remote places, and they have to live on their survival skills by themselves, individually, solo, for however long, and whoever lasts the longest wins the money. It's a reality TV show, but it's not like anything I've ever seen before, because it's just so deeply introspective, and there's no drama because the people aren't talking to each other. Like, there's no people drama. There's just the drama of people having to deal with their own consciousness, and it's fucking riveting. I am obsessive about it and keep talking about it in all of the goddamn places. It's brilliant. So if you're another Alone fanatic, please let me know. I'm also I've read a stack of books lately. I'm just putting together my best books list for 2020. I ended up reading about 120 books this year, which was pretty fun. And it definitely wasn't as many as last year. I read 400 last year, and that's just because 2020 brain has been hard. Like, there was months and months there where I just couldn't read because my brain was so frazzled on dealing with taking on all this new information about, that whole living in a fucking pandemic thing. So that was big stuff, but I've still read some fucking incredible books, so I'm excited to share that best books list with you, because I read some really good ones this year. What have I read recently that was really good? I think I've just been reading a lot lot of trash lately. A lot of romance trash. I did really fucking love Gender, a graphic guide. I thought that was phenomenal. One of my favorite books this year, and definitely useful to get a better understanding about gender, because we're just not taught much about it, especially, you know, I think teenagers now are so much more aware of gender than we are. And so I feel like I have to update my knowledge to understand gender even more. And for the record, I would like to clarify, I do identify, like, you could, like, my pronouns would be she or they. Like, I'm groovy with either one, but I don't necessarily feel like female is a very big part of my identity whatsoever. I feel more like a brain than anything else. Just a brain wobbling about in a fucking hot body. That was, yeah. Anyway, I'd recommend that book. That was groovy. Oh, I did want to mention as well, a few of you reached out after the Nazi episode podcast and said that you really enjoyed a conspirituality podcast. That's Conspirituality podcast, and I've been listening to that as I paint my kids' rooms, and it's fucking great. Highly recommend it, and I appreciate those kinds of discussions, looking carefully at how QAnon and conspiracy theories have really flourished in our spiritual communities, really, which is a red hot fucking bummer, aka see the Nazi episode. Oh, funny. Now, people are always saying to me, what's next, Leonie? What are you going to create next? I don't know. I'll let you know as soon as I know. Probably a marketing course, though. Probably. That would be, I think that's, well, people are asking me for it a lot, so I'll probably just have to get that one done and out in the world. I don't know when I'm putting it out. You'll find out when I find out, guys. Or as my assistant says, like, I find out when I get the sales email, because that's how far our business planning goes. Yeah. I was thinking, do you think it would be useful for me to interview my assistant on this podcast and just interview her, like, about how we work together and what kinds of tasks she does and what's the best parts of the job and what's the hardest parts of the job and what it's like working with me, the blessings and challenges. Would that be interesting? Let me know. If you could email in support@leoniedawson.com or just comment on my social media shit and let me know. That'd be groovy. And again, if you've got any questions you want me to answer about anything, just let me know. I need something to talk about. Right. I have neared my children's school run section. One thing I do want to say is, if you see photos of me, well, not that I share that many pictures on social media of me out and about, but I want to clarify, we don't, in most states in Australia, we don't wear masks. I fucking would wear a mask if we needed to, but we've basically eradicated COVID here in Australia. I very, very much appreciate the leadership of our state governments, in particular, because they've been even stricter than our federal government. And I just appreciate how basically Australia's fucking locked down and shut that shit down. And Melbourne and Victoria had the longest lockdown in the world. And they have managed to eradicate it in their state, and I just feel very fucking grateful to be a part of a country that takes COVID so seriously and does shit about it so that we can carry on living our lives now in you know, there's some modifications in place, but it's pretty safe. And I feel very grateful for that. All right. That's all. I just know that a lot of Australians have to explain that. We are not against masks. We are very pro masks and all the other shit. We just don't need them now because we're kind of at elimination point, which is incredible. All right, my loves. I'm at my kids' school. This has been fun. Let me know anything, really. support@leoniedawson.com. I'm happy to talk shit about anything. I hope you have an amazing week. I'm sending you so much love, and may you continue to turn up and make your miracles happen and shine your light bright, because we need you and this world needs you. All right, bye.